What's going on, guys? Today we are going to be swapping these shocks on our BC Racing coilovers. As you guys know, we work with BC on all of our drift cars, and on the Seat Time Z, it's got some hand-me-downs from one of our old Zs, but we got some new spec shocks and springs for it. So today I'm going to show you how to swap your springs and shocks, basically rebuild your BC Racing coilovers. This goes for pretty much any true coilover, no matter what the chassis is, but today we're going to be doing it on our 350Z drift car. So really excited. It'll help us fix the fitment and get the car looking a little better. So I'm pretty stoked. Let's get after it. Probably shouldn't do that, that might break. Car's on the lift. We're only doing the rear. The front fitment is fine, and I don't really need to service those shocks or anything. They're totally good. These shocks are totally fine as well. I just want to put a little bit shorter shock body on it because these are my old long travels. So this car is kind of a seat time style car. It doesn't really need that much suspension travel like the extra that the comp car needs. So yeah, I'd rather just have the cooler fitment. That way the car doesn't look so goofy. And yeah, let's get these wheels off and start ripping these shocks out. We'll take them to the workbench and start stripping them down, and I'll show you guys kind of how you change your shock body on a BC setup. So let's get it. All right, first side down. Now let's knock out this side and we'll get these things over to the bench. All right, so once you get it apart, this is basically what you're gonna see. If it's a true coilover, obviously you have upper mount, spring, you know, a complete coilover unit, separate spring and shock cars like BMWs and stuff in the rear, it's gonna be a little different. But, so all we gotta do is on a Z specifically, it's gonna be different for some, but usually it's gonna be a 17 up top, so we'll just rip this off, and then from there, be able to take everything off up here, and then we'll get to the bottom in just a second. That comes off. You got this little like rubber piece, top mount, and then you've got your spring seat isolator right there. So we'll just kind of keep everything in line. If you're a little afraid to take it apart, just put everything out like that, and then you can't go wrong. These are the old Swifts we're taking off. They're 6Ks, a little stiff for a stock Z. It was good with the V8. I am gonna miss having the Swifts though. They're nice and they look cool. So yeah. Dust boot. This is going to be a little difficult to get off because this is a different bump stop than is normally on there, which I did not think about.
Is it moving?
Okay, that will probably be a little bit easier. I forgot when I built this kit a few years ago, it got the poly bump stops, which these things have been on there for years. So you can kind of see just some dirt and grime built up right there, and then it just kind of sees it on there. But you probably won't have to deal with that. Usually these have like the little white, I don't even know what the material would be. They're like rubbery kind of material, not this poly style, which this is like, there's no play. So from here, it's pretty easy. Take your small spanner, take your big one, whack it. And then they will come loose from each other, and we'll just run these up. I'll just do it at the top because a lot less travel to go. What I love about these DS series shocks, not only are they great digressive curved shocks, but because they are this like, they're not powder coated black, no matter how dirty they get and old they get, the rings just come right off, which is so nice to work with. These are some BR series shocks, so I'm gonna kind of lose that, but I wanted to go with a linear damping curve, so. Again, same thing, just a little bit more difficult. And then you can just do the same thing on the bottom, run the lower mount off, and then you will have your stripped down shock. All right, so to recap everything we've got with the lower mount lock ring. It's got that bevel to sit right in there. And then you've got the lower spring seat isolator, upper with the upper mount. Spring goes in between those. You got this, which will go on top of the shock. dust boot, bump stop, and then your lower lock ring, and then for the lower spring seat lock ring, and then the one to lock onto that. So let's get these new shocks open and I will show you the difference in these. So this is a stock BR length shock. As you can see, the long travel setup, longer shock body, longer piston shaft, overall more usable stroke, but the problem is we want to go a little low with this car, and obviously the max low is going to be whatever the length difference is. So kind of prevented us from getting the fitment that we wanted, but we'll be able to do that. And then, like I said, going hand in hand with the new shocks, I'm going to the default spring rate because I think the 5K works really good with the VQ setup. The 6 isn't a huge difference, it's just a little stiffer, and the VQ doesn't have that much torque and guts to really squat the rear down. So yeah, let's get to reassembling this. I'll kind of talk you through this because I know it's going to be a little confusing. All right, so I'm going to run the spring seat lock ring down here. This is what the actual spring sits on. I'm going to go ahead and get this up here. And then once you got that kind of generally where you want it, you're obviously going to play with it once you start to set the preload, but we'll go ahead and get the lock ring that actually holds that in place down there as well. All right, so now that we've got enough space here, I'm going to go ahead and thread this lock ring on. Like I said, what we're basically just doing here is getting everything on that needs to go above the lower mount so that we can just go ahead and set the right height, because I am gonna run it at max low. Oh God, she's crusty. She doesn't like that powder coat. Like I said, BR series got that black powder coat. Sometimes it's a little annoying to work with. But yeah, so we'll get this lock ring on here and then we'll just bottom out the lower mount. That's gonna give us max low ride height right out of the gate. And then I'll show you what we do with the upper parts to get the spring preload set and then get this thing slapped back together. Start threading the lower mount back on. Woo! That was a close call. Almost took out my coffee. Because we're actually running this at max low, it's actually very easy. Just gonna run the lower mount until it bottoms out, and then we'll throw the lower mount lock ring. We'll run that all the way down, and we'll just go ahead and tighten it up. Obviously, if you don't wanna run it at max low, you kinda need to measure it out. You can run it all the way down and then back off if you want, and then just make sure you do the same thing to the other side. We'll go ahead and tighten this, because like I said, I'm gonna leave the ride height at that. I already kinda know I have a figure from the other shocks, so. Okay, that's on there. So now what you've got, lower half done, middle lock ring, spring seat lock ring. So we'll take our plastic spring seat isolator, bump stop, forgot what it was called for a second. Ugh. Shit, this one's gonna be kind of hard to get on there too. I'm just gonna rub it. I got gloves on.
Spray some in here.
It's just so tight that it catches right here. All right, so we had the bevel going like that. All right.
Good?
Yep. Okay, sorry, had to get Dad's help. This thing fits so tight that it's kind of annoying. Now that that's on, it was fighting me a little bit. Plastic spring seat isolator. Throw the spring itself on. And then we'll throw this washer on. Oh wait, whoops. Almost forgot one step, look at me. Fire me. Dust boot, cannot forget that. Then the washer. Throw the spring on, hopefully you guys can see this. And then bada bing, bada boom. This goes like this, just like that. Bottom end like that. You'll know because that's gonna be the top. So, then we can go ahead and put our little top on there. Oh shit. So now what you should have is a loosely assembled coilover. Obviously you're gonna have no preload right now. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna set the preload. Basically just gonna run these down so far much, that doesn't make any sense. Basically what I've done is I've got this drooped a ton. So now I'm just going to pull down on the upper mount. That's where it's going to sit. So if I pull down on this upper mount and then pick this spring up, essentially when I seat this lock ring to where the spring is not moving at all, it's just being held just in place, that would be considered no preload. It's just kind of holding itself. Right now it would be considered, I guess, negative preload. So we'll get this like that. And then right now the spring is kind of holding itself. Now you've got basically no preload, so what we're gonna do, we're gonna run this lock ring. For true coilovers, BC recommends 5 millimeters, which is the width of a spanner wrench. So because you've got 0 millimeters of preload right here, if you just start running this gap up, holding the lower lock ring in place and then spinning this, you'll get to the width of the spanner. I think I went a little bit too much there. You want the spanner to just fit right in. We'll call that good. So then run this up to where it's tight without that lock ring moving. I like to go ahead and tighten it. Okay, and then from there, you'll tighten the upper mount. Now you are completely assembled. Your spring has preload, no play, everything is tight, and you are reassembled. So we're gonna copy this over to the passenger side and get these back in the car. But that's pretty much how you do it. Not gonna walk through the second one. I'll just kind of time lapse it for you, and let's see what these things look like when it's on the car. Looking forward to lowering it and getting the fitment dialed. So should be good. Also the 5K should be a little bit better for drifting. So let's get it. If you guys are interested in getting set up with a set of BCs, link in the description directly to our website. We are an authorized dealer of BC Racing Coilovers. I worked there personally for 2 years in both sales and custom build, so I've got a pretty decent understanding of how to spec out and set things up depending on what you're doing. Drift, drag, show, stand, street car, daily driver, whatever. So hit me up, send us an email, or just reach out to my Instagram. We'll get you squared away with like the best setup possible for what you're doing, and we'll try and get you the best pricing. So yeah, let's get these back together. I'm excited to see the car. Hopefully it looks a little bit better being lowered in the back. This car is kind of a little bit of a stancy looking drift car with the chrome wheels. So yeah, let's get it back together and take a look. Jax, you fuck with the fitment? 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 You fuck with it? Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. You fuck with that fitment. Tight shit. Tight shit. Dab me up, Jit. Dab me up. Sit. Sit. Dab me up, Jit. Dab me up. Yeah. Wow, Jit right there. Let's check this thing out, see how it looks. I'm gonna drive it just behind the shop a little bit so we can kind of let the suspension settle a bit. And let's check out this ride height. Hopefully it looks better. I know we got this stupid ass tire on it right now, but let's go. Bro, anyone who tells you that like street driving drift cars is cool and shit, don't listen to him, bro. This shit sucks. It's not fun. The cars are like, this thing is literally like a tin can. Let's drive this bit around a bit, see what the old ride height looks like. That is what I'm talking about. Now, like I said, the fitment's a little boof because we got like almost the same size little tiny tire in the back. Actually, probably smaller sidewall wise, but definitely looks so much better. Love that compared to the giant wheel gap it had before. So pretty stoked on it. Honestly, I think this is about right where we wanted it, I would say. Like I said, the tire size is a little awkward for the combo we got going on. This tire literally looks smaller than the front, which is quite hilarious, honestly, because a little friggin' 255 rubber band, but we don't really run that tire just because we had some. But dude, she's looking pretty good. Pretty stoked. That's pretty much gonna wrap up the video, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed, learned something how to build your BCs. If you have any questions, feel free to contact me or BC. I don't work there anymore, but I did, and they're a partner of our race program, so still work very close with them. and I don't mind giving out some help and advice when I can. If you're interested in BC coilovers, link in the description, rerperformance.com. Check us out. That's my personal company. We are an authorized dealer of BC Racing. Email me directly. Emails on the website, or shoot me a DM and we'll get you sorted. I'll help you spec out the best coilovers for your application and what you're doing. Let's get it. Enjoy. Check out our Instagram. Check out the YouTube. You're already on the YouTube. Check out the Instagram. Check out the TikTok. You know the drill. Check out the podcast. Stay tuned for some more videos. We're going to be creating a lot of cool shit. And yeah, thank you guys for supporting us. We'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.